It was the greatest act of terror in recorded history, uniting many Americans in grief and anger. The documentary Loose Change spoke to the disaffected, and its co-producer Corey Rowe was one of them.
I saw a large disconnect between what the American people were being fed as far as the information in the Iraq War and what I had lived through firsthand. I very much wanted to do something about it.
After serving tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, his experiences overseas and nagging questions about 9/11 led him to produce the documentary. Made on the cheap by him and a friend, it encouraged millions to question whether their leaders were lying.
And so when Loose Change was put out around 2004, 2005, it was largely a leftist idea. Because we had a Republican president, because George W. Bush was in office, you were either with us or against us. And so if you didn't believe the official version of 9/11, then you were against the American government.
20 years after the attack on the World Trade Center, the skepticism and suspicion that fueled conspiracy theories around 9/11 has metastasized, spread by the internet and nurtured by politicians like Donald Trump.
I saw people getting together and in fairly large numbers celebrating as the World Trade Center was coming down, killing thousands of people.
One hoax after another has emerged, each more bizarre than the last. Birtherism, Pizzagate, QAnon.
Also, you see the January 6th insurrection, where people are lied to about a conspiracy theory by their elected officials, where they believe that information so intently that they would invade the U.S. Capitol building and kill people over the information that was fed to them. In the 9/11 truth movement, nobody died over the protests. Nobody stormed any buildings. We were just asking hard questions.
Mark Fenster is a University of Florida Law School professor who has studied the history of conspiracy theories in America.
There has long been a kind of ambient default level of conspiracy theory belief of people who are disaffected from the political system, but the extent to which more people can have access to them and more people can see them, that's something that's new.
Polls show belief in 9/11 conspiracy theories peaked in the years immediately following the attack and then subsided. 20 years on, a search on YouTube for content related to 9/11 turns up millions of hits. Thousands of videos focus on conspiracy theories. Early on, conspiracy theories about September 11th were popular with some liberals who disliked former President George W. Bush or who opposed the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. But after Barack Obama became president, bogus claims about 9/11 began growing in popularity among conservatives who cite them as proof of a deep state. Alex Jones, the Trump-supporting publisher of InfoWars, has accused the United States of plotting attacks and says the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax. 2 years before winning her seat in Congress in 2020, Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene said she doubted a plane actually hit the Pentagon. Last year, she acknowledged she'd been wrong and claimed it was the government's fault that she spread misinformation. False claims about the attacks often come up at the September 11th Memorial and Museum. They offer educational services to visitors there and school children across the country in an effort to set the record straight.
Conspiratorial thinking and conspiracy theories in general are just a part of the national conversation in the past few years in a way that it hasn't before. By showing students how to interrogate primary sources, whether they be written documents, artifacts, or stories, that can translate beyond just the 9/11 story and can be applied to other historic events or current events.
These days, Corey Rowe says he chooses to keep a low profile. He still has questions about what happened on 9/11, but said that Loose Change and 9/11 conspiracy theories are no longer a big part of his life.
I'm interested in my community, I'm interested in my life and my family, and largely the September 11th truth movement to me is a thing of the past.
Robert Bumstead, Associated Press.